ideas are absolutely going to be pushed through the consulting firms as well as through the political establishment.
Yeah, Ben, brilliant. Thank you. Now, sticking with the whole net zero thing, let's have a laugh at Tony Blair Institute for Global Change and their intervention in UK politics here with a new report entitled Reimagining the UK's Net Zero Strategy. So it's not that interesting, but we'll have a look at what they're saying. First, climate change is a global problem that requires global solutions. The UK is currently responsible for less than 1% of global emissions. Even if the UK is reducing its domestic emissions, there is a significant global emissions challenge that needs to be grappled with. So just think about that. The next time they're telling you to stop eating beef or switch your heating off. But the next thing then is let's look at what they're recommending. So enhancing the UK's net zero legislation for the delivery phase, improving coordination and responsiveness of government delivery. So we're not responding quickly enough. Creating the conditions for transformative climate research and development. They say that they want to see reform of regulatory regimes. They want government funding to be used and regulatory powers to be used strategically to create and shape the markets for clean technologies. So don't leave the markets to do their own thing. We've got to make sure that government is driving the markets in a particular direction. And they want to see increasing UK climate leadership globally. Now, the way that the mainstream media was portraying this today and yesterday was really that this was an intervention which might embarrass Keir Starmer. I don't think so. I think this is getting a clue as to the direction Keir Starmer is going to go after the general election. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. Now, moving on then to Ofcom now and the issue of 5G. Now, a number of weeks ago, I was pointing out that the UK still doesn't have any mmWave 5G hardware deployed as yet. That the consultation is still going on, and there's going to be an auction going on to decide who and how much they're going to have to pay for licenses to run this type of technology. We've seen it rolled out in the US and in some countries in Europe already, but the UK is well behind the curve on this one. So a new consultation out announced 3 days ago on proposals to make auction regulations for the mmWave award. So the process of allocating licenses rolls on, and I just wanted to remind everybody that this process is going on if you want to consider, perhaps making your voice heard on this issue. Now, where does that take us? Yes, speaking of high tech, if you remember the DragonFire directed energy weapon that the Ministry of Defence has decided to put onto Royal Naval ships and so on. Here's a new one, another directed energy weapon. The UK is going to lead the world in drone killing tech. We're already urgently procuring DragonFire lasers that can cut down drones at the speed of light. And now we've announced the UK's radio beam weapon that will bring down swarms for just 10p. I mean, what better, value for money could that be? So let's have a look at the wonderful James Cartledge, our Minister for Defence Procurement, as he talks about this.
So I'm here at Thorney Island, where, as you can see, we have this incredible new capability. It's called Radio Frequency Directed Energy Weapon. We've been developing this partnership between DSTL, DNS and the Army, and I'm here to see if we can go further, as we have done with our laser, in bringing this eventually into service with the British Army, and in my view, as soon as possible. I've stressed repeatedly that I want to see a much greater role for our brilliant scientists at DSTL. This is our cutting edge. Technology is how we have competitive advantage against our adversaries. We've got such amazing capacity for that in the UK, throughout defence, but particularly with our scientists. And this is showing how we can actually make a difference, bringing capability forward for the Army and for all of our armed forces.
Now, undoubtedly, you were extremely impressed in the middle of that as the drone fell out of the sky. I'm going to say, I don't believe for 1 second that was the device in operation. That was somebody deliberately crashing a drone. But just to give an impression of James and how great he is, here he is with his joystick in his hand and operating this system, if you can believe it. I don't. Now, I just want to very briefly, before we finish with Ben, I want to very briefly mention the situation in the Southwest with respect to Southwest Water, because many people will know that in the Southwest here we've had an incident of parasitical poisoning, shall we say, and lots of people with severe diarrhea. This is in Brixham, and I believe also in Paynton now as well. Now, the issue here, well, we'll just bring the chief executive on screen there. There she is. She doesn't want to show her face, so we're only seeing her eyes from behind the graphic there. But unfortunately for Southwest Water, they were despicable in the way that they handled this, because people were getting ill, and large numbers of people were getting ill with the most horrendous diarrhea. And Southwest Water initially denied that they were responsible for this, and they said, no, it's not us, Gov. Honest, Gov, it wasn't us. Continue using water as normal. And they, in fact, there was even talk of people being dehydrated as a result of the diarrhea, and so they should drink more water. But Southwest Water denied that they were responsible for it, and then subsequently, a day or two later, were forced to admit that it was them after all, and that people should start boiling their water, and maybe that would be a reasonable thing to do. So we're going to be talking about this in a little bit more in extra, because frankly, Debbie has a few things to say, and we're going to let her off the leash completely. And she will be undoubtedly saying things that the chief executive of Southwest Water doesn't want to hear. So hopefully you'll join us in extra for that. But Ben, let's end with truth tellers.
Yeah, a bit of light relief here at the end of the show. Truth tellers. We're defending truth. We're seeking it out and we're representing it. And we just happen to work at CNN and the BBC and a whole bunch of other big media organisations. This event happened last week, actually in the last couple of days, again on YouTube. Go and watch it. It's fascinating. All these big wigs. You just saw there briefly Christiane Amanpour from CNN, who apparently has a CBE. I think that's quite a striking thing. I need to look into that. And they run this event every year. It's been going for about 3 years now. The Sir Harry Summit, named for Sir Harry Evans, who was one of the giants of post-war journalism, a newspaper editor at the Times, amongst others. And as we just saw a moment ago, this event is backed by Reuters, the Ford Foundation, BBC Verify, who are really into truth, and our old friends at Tortoise Media, who also this week announced a partnership with the Open Societies Foundation. So this is all about truth, guys. And let's just have a little listen to Krishnan Gurumurthy talking to Deborah Turness, who is the CEO of BBC News and Current Affairs.
Deborah, you know, one of your big methods, if you like, to bring, or to uphold credibility at the BBC has been showing your working, the launch of BBC Verify. And you've explained that in terms of, if we show people what we're doing and how we're doing it, then they will believe us more. How's that going? And is there a danger that it's undermined, what all your journalists were doing anyway? You create a Verify unit. What are the rest of them doing?
That's a good question. I'll start with, I think that we're talking about truth here. I don't think it's necessarily truth that's the problem. I mean, truth is there. It's getting hard to find, and it's being seriously misrepresented. I think it's trust that is the issue for us. An impartial news organisation that strives to deliver fair reporting and to find, BBC's number one purpose is to pursue the truth with no agenda. So the truth is very much there, alive and kicking. It's finding it is difficult. And then it's convincing people that it is the truth. And that's where trust comes in. And that's where Verify comes in.
Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the second time I've heard the name Gurumurthy, and they were different people, if I'm right?
That's Krishnan, former Channel 4 news anchor for many years, and then his brother. Yes, as I discovered actually in the Miliband conversation, because David Miliband was talking about being terrified of being interviewed, and he basically says, "Well, my two siblings are news anchors at the BBC." So, same family.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in extra as well. I have no doubt. So, but we got to leave it there for today. So I'm going to say thank you very much to Ben. Thank you to Cheryl and to Debbie for joining us today. Thank you all for watching. If you're a UK Column member, do join us for extra in a couple of minutes. If you're not, you might want to. become one so that you can join us for extra in a couple of minutes. There's plenty of time. But we will see you then. And otherwise, we'll see you on Monday at 1 p.m. as usual. I hope everyone has a great weekend. See you then. Bye-bye.